What's up, blockheads? Trailmakers 2.0 is live. This update is massive, guys, and it's all about the campaign. Yes, there are new blocks and weapons and tweaks on old game mechanics, but the meat on this sandwich is the campaign. In this story, you begin as a trusty Trailmaker cadet. Now, as a veteran player of Trailmakers, I wasn't eager to step into this role, but I understand why, and it makes sense for the story. And at least it doesn't start off with epic incompetence on my part. Again. In the Pioneers campaign, you step into the shoes of a Trailmaker on their first mission, a simple supply delivery to the frogget world of Gregory. Froggets are the new NPC species, and they're about as silly as I expected. After landing to scout the area, we're confronted by our antagonists for the campaign, the Botnax, a robotic mining crew sent to planet Gregory to extract the core of the planet, along with any and all of its resources. As the true eco-villains they are, they have turned a once green and idyllic region of this world into a wasteland. To begin, Master Seppo, who seems to have neck probs that can only look up, greets us and gives us our Trailmaker building tool that he definitely looted from me while I was asleep. Looking back, this feels like foreshadowing that he's actually kind of a dick. Yeah, I'll leave it at that, but you let me know if you think he's a good dude by the time you finish the story. From here, we visit a bunch of frogget towns and settlements, and do various missions and tasks to earn power cores and experience. Your first new game mechanic will be mining. There are various resource nodes scattered throughout the landscape. The map also has resource icons placed in different areas to help the player find what they need. And occasionally, an entire region will be named for a resource. Welcome to the settlement of Tungberg. Can you guess what resource spawns in this area? This brings us to our next mechanic, crafting. Different building blocks will have different resource requirements. Basic building blocks require iron. Need another engine? You'll need ignition berries. Looking to make something go boom? Sulfur will be at the top of your ingredient list. Whenever you see an unusual object in the world, it'll be smart to have a go at it with your mining tool. Sometimes it'll be nothing, but it may be something you need. Sulfur comes from these weird pitcher plant looking things, and these giant sparkly mushrooms give you fusion cells. Whatever those are. I ignored these mushrooms for a full day before I realized they were lootable. Now let's talk about the map. Yes, it's huge, and it's gorgeous. I'm sensing some new atmospheric elements, like the way light occludes seems better, and the atmospheric haze really conveys the size of the world. My inner artist wants to set up an easel and go full Bob Ross. Now the map won't be available in Sandbox on release, but I'm told by reliable sources that it will be in a future update, so keep your pants on. This was an experience, guys. I had this weird moment about an hour into my playthrough. I was happily stockpiling iron and rubber for a build when I realized Trailmakers had leveled up. Like a lot. I was finding rubber and glowberries, and the thought of what new resource is waiting for me over the next hill was omnipresent in my head. I had all I needed to build a cool truck, but I wanted more. I wanted all the resources. I have a new addiction to feed, and it wants iron. So holy crap, you guys. There is a level of polish on this experience I was not expecting. I expected to grind through whatever silly missions they had and be done the same day I started. I was wrong. My playthrough took 57 hours. And I was focused and driven to progress and discover new secrets the whole time. Speaking of progression, it feels pretty darn good. You'll be leveling up and unlocking new blocks at a steady pace. Earning power cores becomes a gratifying grind to quickly complete side missions through hunting enemies, sharing my stockpiled resources, and picking up stranded froggets. Although unlocking the ability to craft a new block didn't always mean I had access to it. With new blocks, you'll need new materials, and a gameplay loop developed for me where I'd build a thing, then went out and did a quest with my new thing, then came back and unlocked another new thing, and then I was out exploring again to find the ingredients I needed to actually make the new thing. It was a satisfying gameplay cycle that felt really natural, and I found myself entering a completely unexpected headspace for Trailmakers. Like, I could feel my experience from other bigger games kicking in. I was gathering resources, checking my inventory, and making sure I had enough aqualite to craft the pontoons I needed to make my truck amphibious. I was back in Ark, or 7 Days to Die, breaking rocks and getting ready for a big build. I was home. There are several ways to unlock different blocks and power cores. You earn Trailmaker experience for everything you do. Combat, story missions, boss fights, and town missions. This XP levels you from 1 to 25. Each level unlocks new building blocks. You'll find the progression list here. On the next tab is the boss fight unlocks. Here's where most of the powerful building blocks will be found. Your power cores come from the local town missions. This little task bot will supply you with ample busy work. Each town earns you a total of 3 power cores for a campaign total of 25. Yes, only 25. I agree, that's not much, and it'll be a challenge the whole time, especially when you take to the sky. This forced real compromise in my builds. I could use only a few power cores for engines and use the rest on shields and weapons and be a slow juggernaut. Or keep it lightweight and use lots of engines and be a fast, maneuverable glass cannon. The ability to transform into a build without burning a repair token made for some real badass combat scenarios. The combat is fun. I didn't find it particularly challenging, but I have almost 7,000 hours playing this game on multiple platforms. It's kinda hard to challenge me and a newer player with the same combat scenarios. But having a hardcore mode where I could double or triple the amount of enemies would be a nice way to implement some more difficulty for veteran players. With that being said, running into an artillery bot early game with the swarm of support bots they roll with led to some epic and chaotic combat. But really, it was in the air fighting the new flying enemies that I really noticed the AI changes. On Airborne, I learned pretty quickly that I could just ignore the dogfighters. They were going to see me, then fly away in a straight line, then come back a few minutes later, and maybe they'd shoot at me, maybe not. Either way, the threat level was 0. These botnacks kinda actually have some skill. They don't fly away when they see you, they turn into you hard, and they seem to be trying really hard to outmaneuver me. They group up and they focus fire. I thought I could ignore them in the final boss fight. I learned the hard way that ignoring them was not an option. After combat, you'll need to repair and refuel. I like how they tweaked the repair system and added the reorient mechanic. Now I can get myself flipped over or pointed in the right direction without burning a repair token. It's also really quick. The vehicle pops into position instantly, saving the longer repair animation for the full damage repair. And if you run completely out of tokens, you can just step out and repair from foot with an even longer animation. They've also added a new fuel mechanic. When you enter a settlement's boundary, you'll get a quick fill up and a full restock of your repair tokens. Enemies, when defeated, have a chance to drop fuel and repair tokens also. You can find fuel drops throughout the world. On land, they're easy to spot and running out of gas will be rare. They can also be found in the water and in the air. However, I found myself frequently running out of fuel as I explored the swamp. The fog made them nearly impossible to find, and now that I was looking for them, I realized when I killed the enemies the drop rate was actually pretty low. I did occasionally stumble into one here and there, but large portions of the map are just fuel deserts. Over the main island, air fuel drops are non-existent. This actually led to a really fun combat style. Once I had a decent plane, I would find a group of unsuspecting botnacks, drop a salvo of bombs, then fly low and transform into my combat rig and drop into the middle of the survivors and wipe them out and collect my loot. Overall, I didn't love how fuel was implemented. I did, however, adapt quickly, and it led to as much fun as it did frustration. If I could change one thing, I would increase the drop rate from the defeated enemies. So, my final thoughts. They crushed it, guys. Yeah, there are some minor bugs, and I've only played it in early access, so I'm not going to talk about them, as most of them will be fixed before final release, and you'll never see them. With that being said, Trailmakers just leveled up. Now, I don't know exactly where the distinction is between indie, AA, and AAA games is. All I know, Trailmakers is no longer a cute indie game with cool building and a few derpy campaign offerings. It's a full game with real story elements and meaningful progression, accompanied by a limitless sandbox where practically anything is possible. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one, Trailmakers. Peace.